Hello, hi everyone. My name is Eng Hao and I'm the SE from Cylance. Today, I'm going to go through one of the most commonly asked questions about the hybrid, and I'll actually go through with you the reference architecture of how we deploy the hybrid, what is the use case, and also at the end of the session, I'll be using VMware Fusions to assist you in setting up the hybrid so that uh, you will be able to actually uh, experience the setting up and the configuration yourself. Okay, so what is really the hybrid solution? The hybrid solution, there's a use case for such environment, and one of the environment is devices that doesn't have direct connections to the Silence console. Now, you can see on this diagram here itself, I've actually illustrated a proxy. Now, if the organization has already got a existing web proxy in place, there isn't a need, there's no requirement to install or implement the Silence Hybrid. Okay, the Silence Hybrid is also known as a kind of lightweight proxy. So in this case, right, it doesn't really make a lot of sense if you have an existing web proxy and then you implement the hybrid, the Cylance hybrid, which causes a double proxy kind of architecture design. Okay, this will not improve in the security posture, but it will definitely introduce more uh, areas of troubleshootings, and as well as introduce what you so called from a latency perspective, right? Since the traffic is actually terminating and re-establishing the connections between proxy and proxy, uh, that will cause slightly a little bit of latency. Now, as I mentioned, the use case in this environment is therefore network environment that has restriction to direct internet connections. The pros the good thing about that is the Cylance is able to work with your existing proxy. It doesn't really require the Cylance hybrid. Okay, and this is basically the recommended method. Why do I say recommended method? Because when we have a proxy and you have a endpoint, the connections and the communication is via SSL. So if you talk about SSL traffic, then it requires certificate, right? So your environment, if you are using your existing proxy, your certificates issue has already been resolved. Okay, but if not, right? If let's say you are using the hybrid, which is our lightweight proxy, then you are required to have a certificate authority. Okay, and this certificate authority will then generate the server cert and the key which you install in the proxy, and at the same time you will also be generating a client certificates that will be installed on the client machine itself. And in this case, right, then you will actually build that breach of trust via SSL between the endpoint and the proxy itself. Now, another method, second method is that you could actually get from our hybrid itself, you can actually get a CSR, get it signed by the CA, and then re-import back into the hybrid, and this will also work as well. All right. Um, the proxy, another area is that we will suggest to allow anything that is connected to silence.com, strict.silence.com, and as well as strict.amazonaws.com. Okay, the administrator will then manage the hybrid and the endpoints from the Silence console itself. So if there's no question, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use a VMware Fusion to run that demonstration. Now, VMware Fusion is not our supported virtualization platform. Now, the Silence supported platform is using VMware ESXi minimally 6.5 and above. Okay, so just bear it in mind. Now, I'm going to go through this, right? Okay, so you can see over here that I have my virtualization here, and I have already set up a clean Windows 7 for the purpose of connecting these endpoints to the hybrid. Now, the hybrid comes in the OVA format. You can download from our support site, and I'll just show you how I import this OVA. Okay, this is the hybrid, and I'm using the hybrid version 1.4.4.4. Okay, I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to actually push the continue. Right, I'm going to save it here, and it gets imported. Alright, so while it's actually importing, let's actually go into the Windows 7 machine itself. This is where you know this is where you will install the agents, right? You will install the agents and the certificates and so on and so forth. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to pull this the Cylance agent into this portal here, and also bear in mind that I didn't go through. You have to have your Cylance portal be ready. All right, this is the portal that I'm using because you will need uh, you'll need the token ID, right? Uh, for the agent during the installations of the agent itself. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay, we'll wait for a while, and while we are waiting, now the Cylance Hybrid has already completed its import, and you can see that the memory is 4 gig, which is not recommended because this is actually a demonstration environment. So 4 gig is pretty much enough because I know that I have only one connection that's connecting to this proxy. So in the latest minimum or recommended requirement is actually 16 gig of memory. Okay. Now I'm going to actually push it to finish, and I'm uh, going to push it to finish, and this is it. Okay, but before I push the start, okay, now I'm just going to actually shut down this hybrid. Okay, before I actually go into the hybrid, I have some network connectivities that I need to set up. All right, I want to set up the connectivities. I need to select the network port. It really depends, right? I'm actually setting up a VMnet 192.168.159.0 netted, can be able to connect to the internet. Just you can actually set up your own, but this is for because my Windows machine is also running on the 159 network, so I'll just run everything through the same network. That's okay. Now I'm pretty much done, and I will power up my Cylance Hybrid. Okay. Also remember, this token installation key is very important because we will be actually establishing the connections from the hybrid to this portal. This is the number one thing. The number one thing is that we are establishing here. Number two, then we will install the agent to talk to the proxy, and then the proxy will then transmit the connections to this console. Now let's actually run it through. Now the hybrid is already set up. Okay, so what is being configured is in this virtual is the VMnet uses DHCP. So now I'm actually trying to get the connection. It's up already. The connection is 159.133. So remember in mind 159.133. Okay, and you are pretty much done with this hybrid. So this hybrid is actually a very locked down VM. So there isn't a way for you to actually log in, or there is no password or administration rights to log into this portal. So you're pretty much done with the console of the hybrid. So I'm going to minimize this or let it run. So it's the IP address is 133, right? So let's make sure that we bear in mind. Now, for the sake of knowing that we are able to reach the hybrid, what I need to do is I need to do a ping 192.168.159.133. Okay, now it's actually able to ping, so I know that my hybrid is working, it's pingable, and therefore I'll continue to the next step. Okay, now remember one thing is that in the early point of time whereby we saw that you need to install the certificate, so on and so forth, right? You need to actually have a CA. This is actually a demonstration of a certificate itself. So I already pre-create a certificate to be installed on the one set of certificate and key for the hybrid, and the other set of the certificate will be for this device itself. Now, before I start, right, I'm going to install the certificate, right? When you're installing the certificates, always be mindful that you want to put it in the trusted root certificate authorities, okay? And then you finish. Let it run a little while. Let it run a little while. And it will pop up that the certificate has been installed successfully. I'll give it a bit of time here. Just make sure that right. Okay, it's installing. So what is in and it asked me whether I want to install it. So remember and be mindful that this certificate is tied to host name, okay, and the host name is called cert.cylance.co. All right, cert.cylance.co. Now, certificate actually works in this way. It doesn't recognize IP address. So in order to actually have a trusted relationship, right, the hybrid needs to be actually communicated via FQDN, which is now is called cert.cylance.co. So I'm going to put yes, and the import is successful. Now the next step that I'm going to do now is that I'm going to, because you see over here, right? If I do a CMD, and you know that certificate has to tie to FQDN. And if I ping cert.cylance.co, you will not get resolved because your system is not, and your DNS is not able to understand where cert.cylance.co should reside. Now, a very easy way for demonstration purpose, and but for enterprise, you have to change in your DNS server. But for the sake of this demonstration, what I'm going to do is a very quick way, drivers, etc, host, right? Copy the host file over to the desktop here so that you can amend. I'll open up and I'll use a notepad to edit the host file. And what I'm going to do next is let me do 192.168.159.133. Okay, this is the IP address of the hybrid server, right? So I'll just put the FQDN here and I'll save it. So I'll save it and then I'll put back to this host file, to this Windows System 32 drivers, etc. etc. And how you know that it is actually working? So again, you will try to ping cert.cylance.co. It will resolve back to 192.168.159.133, which is your hybrid IP address pingable. There's a response to that, and you are actually done. Okay, this is what you want to achieve. Okay, so what did we actually do? We actually installed the certificates so that it's trusted with the hybrid, and we actually is able to resolve the FQDN of the hybrid. Although we have not set up anything on the hybrid, but this is the fundamental things that we need to set on the hybrid before this agent, this PC is able to communicate with the Cylance Hybrid. Now, in this case, right, what you can do here is you can actually go here, right? Just punch in cert.cylance.co. Okay, let it run a while. Says that it's invalid because the certificate is not there yet. And you'll see the startup page, right? The Cylance actually welcome you to actually get started. So you can actually put it started. Now this is a place, if you want to generate your CSR, get it signed by a CA, you choose this methodology. But today, the method that we want to generate is that we already have the key itself. So we just upload the key and as well as the certificate. So right now, what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to go through the desktop demo. The cert here, this is the certificate, right? And I'm going to drop the key. This is the key. Okay, so I will just go and save and continue on the next page itself. I'll expand this thing so that everyone can see carefully. So at this point of time, it will take a little bit of time because it will take a little bit of time for the hybrid to get registered on the endpoint. Okay, on the system files itself. So let it wait a while. Okay. Now while doing that, right? Okay, so there's something goes wrong, right? The certificate, but this is actually normal. Okay, so don't worry about that. So what you need to do now is that I want you all to actually go into the change from step 2 and put it to step 3. Okay. All right, so you skip that step. That step was actually a problem with some of the certificate issue, but no worry. This is actually the normal case, and I'm not going to integrate any active directory, so I'll just put it as no, and I'll just save and continue. And the password for the hybrid, I'll just punch in whatever password that you would prefer. Okay. All right. So I'll just save and continue, and the device name I'll just put as hybrid. Okay. The FQDM was put in as cert.cylance.co. Okay. The device name is hybrid. The FQDM is cert.cylance.co. All right. Remember this installation token. Okay, where do I get this installation token from? The installation token will be gotten from this portal. Right? You will have a portal, and um, you just punch it in and save and continue. Okay, so you make sure that you check everything that is actually normal. Uh, okay, the installation token, the device name, and everything, and you just put confirm and finish. All right. So you're actually waiting for that to complete, right? There's one thing to take note, okay? This is an MSI package, and this MSI package you can actually change whatever information. If let's say you're connecting to the hybrid, you can actually change some of the registry keys. You can use the, any free software that is able to edit MSI to make these changes. But uh, for the for the installation of this token, this um, agent, it needs to be a little bit. I mean, MSI can actually help you, but for this demonstration, I'm going to go through a very quick and easy way, which is whereby I'll just punch in the command. Okay, I'll just punch in the command. Let me change the token key. So what this does is that it tells um, it tells the agent says that I want to install this, right? The token ID is this, and the registration is all over here, cert.cylance.co, all the all the trusted suffix, everything is over here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to try to install the agent now using this command. You have to use command now. If let's say you are not altering the MSI package, you have to use this command. Let me actually zoom down first, and you are done, right? The username will be Cylance. Okay, by default is Cylance. There's no other username. Punch in the password that you actually mentioned that you actually had just now earlier on. So you can have all these things, right? You can see that DHCP, you can change to static IP address, no problem at all, and all these actually are here. And that's basically what you have. That's basically what you have, because and if you are able to actually go back to this to your portal, right, and by going back to your devices itself, uh, if it is successful, right, if it's successful, you will be able to see your hybrid machine appearing here. Okay, and if it is not successful, then you need to actually do the necessary troubleshooting. Now you can see over here, this was the hybrid that I had actually configured earlier on, right? Don't worry about the rest of the parts here. The main key area, the key point here is that you want the hybrid to be registered in one of your devices. The rest of the information is irrelevant. Okay, you just want to make sure that the hybrid is able to connect to the portal. Okay, now let us go back. Let us go back to um, the Cylance, right? The agent. Now I'm pretty much done from here. So the hybrid, as I mentioned earlier on, except you want to change IP address, anything other than that, or you want to update your certificate, other than that, it is pretty much done. You no need to actually do anything. You can't even do anything fanciful with this lockdown hybrid. So I'm going to close this page itself. Now this is where it is. I have the Cylance Protect. I'm going to cut. Okay, no problem. Okay, what I'm going to do is that alright, so I'm going to go into the directory whereby my Cylance Protect underscore 64.msi is actually here. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to copy this full string of command. Okay, I'm going to copy this full string of command and paste it. But make sure that the few things that you need to make sure is that this command is pretty standard, but make sure that the Cylance Protect underscore 64 is the same name because we are executing this file and the token ID has to be this, right? The rest is all about uh, having all the FQDM being spelled correctly, being typed correctly. Now I forget one thing, right? That is, I must be mindful that when I run this, make sure that I run under the administrator. Okay, so I'll close this thing first. All right, this is the program. Copy, minimize, right? Paste it over here. All right, so this is done. Okay, so we have already done this. Okay, so the Cylance will actually get installed. Okay, so you just have to look at that. Takes a little bit of time. Okay, all right, let it run a little while. Okay, the MSI has already been executed itself. It's running backend. Right, and we close this thing. Let it run a little while. Okay. Okay, it takes a little bit of time because this is actually running on a VM and my VM is actually running on quite a low resource. And you can see that the Cylance Protect is being installed. Okay, right. Just give it a little bit of time, a little bit more of time. Okay. Now I'm going to minimize this and let's take a look at the portal itself. Right. All right. So what happens here? Okay, what is happening here? Now you can see over here the Cylance has already been installed. Okay, this is the one. Okay, so anything so do be mindful. Okay, Cylance 7 user dash PC is the host name, and because we are connecting through this hybrid, right? This hybrid, what we so call the FQDM, we name it as hybrid. So you actually have a host name called hybrid.silence7 user PC. So you know that this PC is connecting via which hybrid. Okay, it's a direct connection or it's being connected via a hybrid itself. So it has been installed, and you can see that this is actually Windows 7 with the service pack 1. And um, if you can see over here, the agent icon is still not up yet because I in the command line, I actually put it as quiet. So okay, okay, so if you put this up, okay, the Cylance UI is already up, and okay, because the command that I actually mentioned that I actually punched in just now means that the Cylance is actually installed quietly, without the agent being popping up. But you can obviously use this, or you can change the parameter so that the agent can be shown. Okay, so what we are doing here is that I'm going to check for policy updates as well as check for updates. Now this is the thing that you can see over silence.hybrid.silence7 users dash PC. This is one thing. And the next thing here is that when you go to about, it is actually the default policy. Now, in order to make sure that you know that this is actually getting the right stuff, right? So we just change a little bit of the about on the policy, make sure that it's get updated. So I'm just going to change it and I'm going to save it, and let us go back here. Okay, the easiest way is that you by changing a little bit of policy, and you make sure that it gets the necessary updates on the policy. That that will be very confirmed that you are correctly connected to the cloud console. Okay, give you a minute. Okay, so this is actually under the policy. Let me just do one round of checking of the policy again, check for policy updates. Okay, and now you can see over here my policy is already updated e-time monitor all 01, which confirms to me that the communication and everything has been set up correctly. It's able to receive the policy, and yep, and the device page, you can see the hybrid that is actually being registered here, and the endpoint agent is being registered over here. Now, a few things to take note, all right, in this whole setup, and I would like to actually be mindful and remind everyone that in this design itself, right, again, what we did here was I have a CA, right? I have a CA, and I generate the certificate in advance so that I can put that key and the certificate in the hybrid, and I also install the certificate over here. Now, this is a very important thing. Host file needs to change. If you are a DNS server, it's good, right? But the agents, when it's communicating to the proxy, it has to communicate through FQDN. You cannot use IP address. It doesn't recognize IP address. So you have to let the agent know how to talk to the proxy or the hybrid using FQDN. In this case, we are using cert.cylance.com, all right, to communicate to this proxy. Now, that's it, right? That's it. It's a very short introduction. I hope that everyone can is able to be more well prepared to deploy hybrid, or in this case itself, if you have already an existing proxy environment, then use your proxy. Don't use hybrid because it just add on to your infrastructure maintenance, and everything just add up. All right. So with that, thank you very much, and I hope that everyone has a nice day.